Thank you very much. It is my great pleasure to welcome Ian McEwan back to Toronto this afternoon. Ian McEwan is a novelist, a playwright, a librettist, a screenwriter, many kinds of writer. His latest novel, Solar, is the story of a Nobel-winning physicist who is a deeply unpleasant man. He is jealous, he is serially unfaithful, he is jealous, he's a glutton, he frames people, he steals ideas, but he wants to save the world. Typical complexity of the McEwan character. His novels, Ian McEwan's novels, he's written 14 books of fiction, are known for their psychological acuity, for their sublime writing and timing. As I was standing over there, and Tthe was introducing me, Ian McEwan said to me, "I'm going to go and sit over there when you stand up." And I said, "Well, why don't you go right now?" He said, No, I'll go when you begin." See, that is a sense of timing that, you know... he also has a habit of writing about some of the darker aspects of the human character. For a long time, Ian McEwan was known as Ian Macabre for that reason. His books have won any number of prizes, and I won't list them all because it will become boring very quickly. Atonement was made into the popular film. I'm sure everybody's been to that. It won the National Book Critics Circle Award and the W.H. Smith Literary Award. The Comfort of Strangers and Black Dogs were both listed for the Booker, but in fact he has been shortlisted for the Booker count them, I think it's 6 or 7 times, 6 times, 5 times. That's completely wrong. You know what they say about the reporter doll, you wind it up, it gets it wrong. He won it in 1998 for Amsterdam. The Child in Time, which is a favorite book of a lot of people, some people say his breakout novel, won the Whitbread Award, the first of 2 brilliant collections of short stories, which we might touch on if we have some time. First Love, Last Rites won the Somerset Maugham Award. His penultimate novel on Chesil Beach was named Galaxy Book of the Year. I don't even know what that means, but it sounds fantastic, at the British Book Awards. And the Times of London has listed him as one of the 50 best novelists since 1945. He was born in 1948 in Aldershot. He grew up as the son of a military officer in Libya and Asia. He attended Sussex University and the University of East Anglia, where he got an MA and studied, more importantly, I suspect, with Malcolm Bradbury. He was awarded the CBE in 2000. Does that mean I have to refer to you as Sir Ian? Sir Ian, right. No. He currently lives in London. Would you please give a very warm welcome to Ian McEwan.
Michael Beard, who's the hero of this novel, in one moment of irritation with a man who has accepted a knighthood, says that every flaky has-been in the arts and the civil administration who wants to be mistaken for a minor member of the aristocracy, every toady accepts a knighthood, and I have not, so you don't have to. But then he is asked by a lawyer who's present, who says, well, that probably means you haven't been invited. This is a novel sort of about climate change, but it's also really, I think, about human nature. And perhaps it's also about human folly. A few years ago, before I'd even thought of writing a novel about climate change, I was invited to a climate change conference in Potsdam, near Berlin. And I was invited by a friend of mine, John Schellnhuber, who's Angela Merkel's chief scientific advisor on climate change matters and other scientific matters too. And he had the rather gimmicky notion of making sure that all the people who addressed the conference had a Nobel Prize. I was there to give an after-dinner talk. I was the sort of after-dinner mint for the occasion. But I did get the chance to be in a room with 35 or 40 Nobel Prize winners, mostly mathematicians and physicists. And I have to say that there are many grand egos in the arts, but when you have 35 Nobel Prize winners jammed into a room, and these were all men, these were bull scientists, alpha males, with something like the halo that you see on medieval paintings, men of enormous power, and also all men of a certain age, whose probably, for many of the mathematicians at least, their very best work lay in their mid-20s. And I thought there was some little edge of humor about this, and I did decide right on the spot that if I ever did get a character at the center of a novel about climate change, I would award him the Nobel Prize. And indeed, Michael Beard won his prize in the mid-80s. I prefer to be unspecific about a date because I don't want to be sued by anyone. And he won it for modifying work that Einstein had done to win his Nobel Prize, work that Einstein did on the photovoltaics. Anyway, I'm going to read to you just sort of briefly, quarter of an hour or so, from a passage. Michael Beard the novel starts with Michael Beard in some domestic chaos. His wife is having an affair with a builder, and he's accustomed usually to being the man who has the affairs. He discovers the humiliation of being a cuckold, and he scans his emails over the months as they come in, waiting to be invited somewhere that would get him away so he could reconsider his life. And he gets an invitation to the Arctic, and here he is arriving. I've never actually read this aloud, so it'll be an experiment for me. He's coming with a number of artists, but he arrives later than everybody else. Passively, he let himself be processed through Oslo, then Trondheim. And the long flight to Longyearbyen, which is in Spitsbergen, by the way, this is the Norwegian Arctic. The long flight to Longyearbyen was delayed by 2.5 hours, during which he sat in a plastic molded chair and read the Herald Tribune with total concentration and no recall. And it was 3 in the morning when his taxi stopped by giant mounds of snow outside his hotel. He had not eaten in hours. Dressed in sweater, anorak, and long johns, he lay in bed, hemmed in on 3 sides by chunky wooden beams, and ate all the salted snacks in the minibar, and then all the sugary snacks. And when he was woken by reception at 8 the following morning to be told that everyone was waiting for him downstairs, the wrapper of a Mars bar was still folded in his fist. His immediate need was to satisfy his thirst, but the water from the tap on his basin was so intensely cold, so fiery on his lips, and he drank so deeply that he developed shooting pains in his face and temples that had not receded by the time he descended with his luggage, still dazed from lack of sleep, to the lobby to meet his group, already breakfasted, already boisterous, already zipping themselves into their special issue snowmobile suits. In the lobby's dim, solar-powered light and the press of overdressed bodies, he did not catch sight of Stella Polkinghorne, but yes, it came back to him now, the manic larkiness of the English in large groups. From different corners of the crowded space came abrupt shouts of individual laughter and cackles in unison. And it was 8:20 in the morning. Forcing a smile, pretending gamely not to be oppressed, he shook many hands, was told many names, and remembered no one because his thoughts were on the coffee that he was too late for. How could he start his day? The urn was empty. The breakfast table was being cleared away by a girl who did not speak English, did not even understand the planetary word coffee, even when pronounced loudly. And now one of the organizers, a great elk of a man called Jan, was telling him it was too late for coffee and was guiding him towards his very own pile of outer clothing and saying he must hurry. A snowstorm was expected within 2 hours and the group needed to get going.